Oh, good, good, good. It'll be nice to see you. So you had a good time while you were here last week?
Oh
Two
yeah,
weeks
when I was
ago?
in Connecticut.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was in and out, and we tried to go to Millwrights for dinner. I'm sure you've been there,
Yep.
right? And because I went there last time, and we get there, and have you been there in the past month?
Oh God, no. Nope.
Okay. So there's this big taco truck out front that the chef has, right? Is a taco truck. And I was like, hey, what's this? And they said, oh, you can do tacos as well. It was something the chef did during COVID. So meanwhile, the restaurant was closed. They let us make a reservation, didn't even tell us that it was closed. So we ended up eating tacos. It was awesome.
Oh, nice.
It was like some of the best tacos I've ever had because that guy's a really good chef.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
Oh, is the taco truck there all the time?
it's a great question. I know that it's closed on Mondays and Tuesdays now, so I don't know whether it's there on the on the other 5 nights, but it was definitely
Yeah.
there then. I would highly recommend.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that
Oh,
good.
very good.
Okay, everybody, Big Joel mortgage community call. Exactly. That now we get Samantha Daly taco truck. She hears the word taco and she can't help herself. Okay, we're going to start here in about a minute. A bunch of people are still coming on. By the way, this was the Ask Me Anything call. I do have a couple of questions. If there are more questions, put them in the chat now so I can get to as many of them as possible. Again, Big Joel Mortgage Community Call, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. We do have Pacific people on today, I see. And we'll start here in a couple of seconds. Welcome, everybody. I see people are still coming on here. Okay. All righty. Mr. Brem, Mr. Gaudreau. I see Kristen. Kristen, have you been on this call before? Yes? Yeah? Okay.
Last week was my first week.
Okay, great. My deal is, Kristen, anyone that's so bold as to put their camera on, I always give a personal hi. So hi. And there's Peyton. I'm getting to stare at her ceiling. And there's Ellie, Marcus. I'm looking at his ceiling. Mr. McGowan, Susie the Cougar, Ed Brem, and Jay Irwin. Yes, Susie, you own that forever, by the way. Brian Marks, I can't see you, but I know you're there. Okay, everybody. There's Peyton. Hey, Peyton. Okay. All right, everybody. So this was a Ask Joel. Just a little bit of housekeeping. Next Monday, there's no call. It's Labor Day. Just so you know, that should come out of your calendar. If you've registered for this call, you're going to see it each week in your calendar. So that will pop out of your calendar for Monday. So you won't even see it. I don't think most of you would accidentally call in on Labor Day anyway. One more thing. We've got a high demand right now for crush groups. We do have a crush group starting on the 17th of September. It's fairly filled up right now, but there are a couple of slots. Anyone that has questions on that, it's on the website. Josh, do you mind just putting that link in the chat as well so people could see it if they have any questions on that? Also, due to demand, we're going to be starting a Big Joel real estate agent community call as well. That call will be on Fridays. I will make sure to give you information that you can pass on to your agent partners if that's something to be interested in. There's no charge for that, but it's the same type of format. I'll be interviewing real estate agents and the like on those calls. So we've done that in the past, but we went away from it, but we're going to go back because we're getting a lot of requests for it. So I don't see any questions in the chat right now. So one of the big questions I got these are obviously from Joel people, are how are you handling COVID B2Bs? Okay, so a B2B, for those of you that don't know, is breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or drinks in front of one agent. One, not two. Keith, I'm going to get to you next. I see that question right there. Not two, but one agent. No coffee. Coffee is not for closers. Coffee is bad. Coffee is fast. Agents go to coffee so they can get rid of you. Okay, they don't go to coffee because they want to really connect. So during COVID, during the beginning of COVID, obviously nobody was out. Lots of people are out now. Lots of people are vaccinated. Lots of people are out doing stuff. And it's a lot easier to do B2Bs right now. But if you have a situation where you're in an area where agents are not necessarily going out right now, you can fall back to the Zoom or FaceTime B2B. Now, We did a lot of these in the spring and summer of 2020, and they're very popular, and the agents really, really enjoyed them because even though they weren't getting out of the house, it was a nice little respite from whatever was going on in their house. And what I want you to know is you can certainly do these over video, okay? And what a lot of loan officers were doing is they were maybe sending some airplane bottles and some mixer to an agent, and they were sort of having a happy hour together over Zoom, and or they were Grubhubbing lunch and then eating lunch together over Zoom. So you should not let the COVID piece affect your B2Bs. They can be very successful without leaving your house if you're in an area where people aren't going out. Now, obviously, in the Northeast, I think people got a little baby Delta scare, but for the most part, people are still out because it's very, very highly vaccinated. So it's a little bit of different deal. I know in the South, it's been very different, but they did get a little baby scare down there in Florida and Texas and Louisiana, which has its own problems right now with hurricane, but that the agents, retracted back a little bit and then started going back out again. Just so you know, for B2Bs, you should be doing 3 to 4 of those a week. The best loan officers in the country are doing between 8 and 10 a week. Keith, bear with me for a second because I'm not Mr. Proficient here. Joel, in the prior call, the featured LO was running DU to determine if the property qualified for a PIW. I haven't been able to figure out how to do this without creating an application. Okay. So what Keith Freeland, who's a market leader in Williamsburg, Virginia, is asking is there anyone on here that that is able to run DU for a property qual for a PIW? Okay. So Sean Gaudreau, Guaranteed Rate, has a program where we can run addresses outside of AUS. My bet is, Keith, with that question, it's probably very specific to the company you work for. They got rid of the ability to do it with DU without triggering RESPA. Okay. And I'm sure if Guaranteed Rate's doing it, it's totally compliant because they're huge and they're not going to do something non-compliant. Is there anybody else on here that works at other companies that is able to do that, that could share that? Jen Miklos, Keith, is saying that, and she works at your company, we had the ability to do this when we could access DU inside PCL. Now that we cannot access DU without updating PCL, we cannot. All right, so Keith, the answer is your company, you can't do it as of right now. But I would make the request because some of your other big competitors, it looks like, are able to do it, and you guys are definitely playing in the GR. Okay, Loan Depot needs an application. So Keith, they're the same as you. So it sounds like Guaranteed Rate's got a little bit of a one-up there on that one because you all are all big companies. We had somebody from Caliber on here. Homebridge needs an app as well. I'd love it if we had somebody from Caliber or even Fairway on here. The other two big boys, big non-banks, to comment on that. But Keith, it looks like nobody can do it but Guaranteed Rate. Okay, so there's probably a bad thing for the LO to be talking about. But I didn't necessarily know that. But you brought that one up. Okay, another question: engaging buyers with multiple offers. How do we keep them engaged? Okay. The best way to keep buyers involved, these are buyers that have total fatigue from literally writing offer after offer after offer. These are the same buyers that in July and August told their agent partners, hey, I'm going to the beach. I'll call you in September. Sell me a house then. They just got sick and tired. The rates are still low. There's more inventory coming on, and they're probably going to get the house they want right now. The single best way to keep keep buyers engaged in a multiple offer market where they're maybe writing 10 offers and losing out on 10 houses is to truly operate my BICPP system. Those of you that don't know what that is, we cover that deeply on Crush Groups. But the reality of it is it's a system to strategically stay in front of every single borrower, every single referral we get before the ones that do not have property addresses. They don't have contracts, okay? There's a very specific way to do it. You have to be very organized. The other thing the best loan officers in the country do is they are fully docking all files. They do not have conditions for LOXs. They do not have conditions for large deposits. They do not have conditions where underwriters are redoing income. They are fully docking the files, completely docking the files. In fact, if we have a condition on any of these files other than title, homeowners insurance, if you're submitting it for credit, appraisal, contract, well, you're going to have the contract, but we've ordered the appraisal. We don't have it yet. And maybe earnest money stuff at the end, we consider that to be a fail. Okay. So if you want to do a hard look at the way you're originating loans right now, take a look at your last 10 approvals and see if there's any conditions on there. Because if there are, you're failing. If there are any conditions that have to do with credit, you're failing. Okay. That's a fail. There should be none. Those of you that don't agree with me or want to talk about it, please unmute and let's talk about it. Those of you that know me well can laugh when this happens. Okay. There is no reason you are not completely docking files up front. This will also help reduce your buyer fatigue because agents tell me all the time, we have one on here right now, Susie Couture. They tell me all the time that, Joel, yes, the seller is picking the best offer every time, but 100% of the time, the offer that gets taken, if there's a mortgage, is when the loan officer has clearly stated this file is completely done. I mean, done. I mean, no conditions. All we need is the appraisal. We throw it in the file and homeowners insurance and title work, and we close. Okay. And maybe earnest money stuff at the end, and we close. Okay. So if you're not doing that, you're certifiably crazy. You should absolutely be doing that on every single file. Every file. Okay. Does anybody, let me see something here. You guys are going to let me have a very, very short call today. Does anybody else have any questions? Ask Joel. I know I talk a lot, so I cover a lot of different things on each call. But does anybody else have any specific questions? Anything you're dealing with right now that's just constantly a problem that you'd like to ask me, and I'll try to answer. And then if not, this is a really robust group. Sean Gaudreau, volume-wise, how much does your average LO grow per year? People that work with me, Sean, typically are going to grow between 16, 18, maybe 20% a year in units. So if they close 100 units, my goal for them would be 120 the next year. I don't ever shoot for super high unattainable goals. There are some loan officers, Sean, that will go to maybe 150, depending on their base when they started. But if we're just looking at pure purchase transactions, meaning referrals from agents, because everyone knows your job is to find people who know people that that need loans and become best friends with them and become referral partners, and that would be the biggest group or agents. If you're working in that realm, it's usually about 20%. That's what you can expect. And if you grow by 20%, that is massive growth. And you can imagine what happens if you do that over a 5-year period. Your hourly rate drops, you have way better partners, and you're closing way more loans with less partners, which means you can actually create relationships with these people as opposed to being completely transactional. So that was a good question. Most people that go through a crush group, Sean, in that first year, honestly, if they do 30 to 40% of what I give them to do, they usually double their units in the first 12 months after. Keith, has anyone done any large group meetings? What topics are you covering to get the most attendance? Keith, I'll answer that, and then anyone else can answer. This is from Keith Freeland. Again, he's a market leader in Williamsburg, Virginia with Movement Mortgage. When you say large, Keith, you can unmute if you want, just for a second. Keith, what do you mean by large? More than 40, more than 100? What do you mean?
Oh, less than 100. Around
okay,
50.
But 50? Okay. We just did one in Beverly Hills with about 30 agents that was done very well and had plenty of room for people to spread out. And it was great. Keith, I think people are finding reasons to get people out. And it's all, a lot of it, like with me, Keith, all the stuff I do is how to sell more houses without buying leads, basically. And the agents love that. That's a very popular subject right now. Meaning without being able to pull the needle out from Zillow and Boomtown and all the different places that people do lead aggregation. I can tell you that the actual product stuff, I don't think that's a winner. You're not going to get agents out for that. I can also tell you that all the events we're doing, there's definitely food and drinks involved. And we do them at 3 o'clock in the afternoon from 3 to 5. We get a great turnout. We start the meeting around 3:30 and end them around 4:30, and people get to hang out and network a little bit, and all the agents stay after and really enjoy it. But we're not spraying and praying. We're making them all VIP events where we're inviting people that we know. We're not just inviting cold. And that's why there's good attendance, because they want to be there. Anyone else can feel free to put in the chat. Keith was asking about doing events. I know it's a popular subject, Keith, at a lot of different companies. They're hearing it from up top. Hey, do events, get people out. So have you done any?
No, I have one coming up, but haven't done any.
Okay, all right.
Lately.
And what are you doing? The one you have coming up, where is it, and how many people are you trying to get in the room?
Probably around 16 people.
Okay.
So
Okay. Okay. So listen, I'm a guy, Keith, I think you know me. I'm a guy that always laughs when LOs do happy hours. I just crack up. I'm like, yeah, what a waste of money. Like, you could have taken that, and instead of done, 12 people at happy hour that are just drinking and eating and not talking to you, you could have done 12 B2Bs. I'm always going to go that way. So I love a smaller group when you can really connect personally, instead of just being in the event business, which is usually a loser for most people. So, does anybody have any comments on this? Does anybody have events booked? Anything coming up? Not with me. Anything not with me. Different stuff. Okay. Any other questions, comments, anything? You guys will let me off the hook with a short call this week. Everyone, listen. The fall market, even with the COVID and the Delta and the this and the that, is really shaping up. It's looking very, very robust and good right now. You should be out with pedal to the metal. You should not be making excuses about why you're not out right now and why you're not cultivating, your BICs and your PPs. You should be ready for your agent partners. When they call you and say, hey, I got Smith under contract, you should be ready. That file should be ready. If those docs expired, you should have gotten new docs. Okay. Your docs should not be expiring on a pre-qual that you did 30 days ago. All right. You should not be getting that contract and then running around like a chicken with your head cut off, redocking the file. That's not a pre-approved buyer. That's a brand new deal, because now you got to redock everything. Okay. So this is important stuff. And the best agents really appreciate that, with the best lenders rolling like that, so they can seamlessly get their people into their new homes. There's enough stress already. Agents are working extremely hard right now, trying to get buyers into houses. So we need to step up and play ball on our end and have our people completely done. And I can tell you, if you do that, you're going to be able to deepen referral relationships. And even the listing agents, their eyebrows are up, and they'll call you and start having conversations with you about what you did and how you did it and why you made it so smooth. So everyone, no call next Monday because it's Labor Day. September 17th is the next crush group. Anyone is interested, any of you leaders that have a loan officer you want to put in there, let me know. And I will talk to everybody in 2 weeks on Monday. See you all later.